But, the coolest thing at this point at 33 is the amount of people that I've been able to directly and indirectly help. I think the numbers are like 800 six-figure earners, and I think 30 or 35 documented millionaires at this point. So I'm just grateful. And I'm like you, man. I just want to help people live a better life.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Punch Me in the Face. I'm really excited today about our guest. I'm always excited about the guests we got on because we wouldn't bring anybody on that we thought wouldn't be beneficial. But I'm going to tell you something. This is a name that people have been throwing at me for like a year and a half. Now, it's not that I don't listen. I do listen. But people are like, man, when we have you have a convention, when you do this, you need to have Alex Morton come in. Now, I'm probably passive aggressive by nature, Alex, at times. So I'm like, you know what? I said, why? Like, why do I need to have him come in? And then I said to myself, I'm going to start watching some of his stuff. Okay. And I'm a horrific critic of myself. And I think I try to pass that on. I try to discern if people are going to be beneficial and if they're going to help out the folks that we're obligated to help. And I started watching your stuff, dude. And I was like, he's really good. Like, he's really good. And then we had a conversation and I hung up the phone. Like, we didn't talk long. I feel better about myself than I did before I called him. I don't even think we even talked for that much. So, Alex, I welcome you to Punch Me in the Face. I really appreciate that you got on. We're looking forward to hearing from you in February. It's going to be one hell of an event, end of January, one hell of an event. And if you don't mind, for anybody who somehow doesn't know you, because you are everywhere, literally. My man just got back from this European deal where he's speaking all over the world and crushing it. And I hit him up. I was like, hey, man, can you jump on a podcast? He's like, yeah, I got a 17-hour flight, get into Vegas this time. Boom, let's do it. I'm like, right. Some people shut down for a week. So welcome to the show. And if you don't mind, kind of enlighten everybody on Alex Morton and give us a little bit of an idea how you got to where you are today. I have a lot of questions I want to ask you, but the background, I don't want it to be lost on anybody.
Well, first off, I want to say congratulations to you, man, because a lot of your guys that are doing insanely phenomenally well. It's so funny because I worked with them years and years and years ago, and they weren't making a ton of money with me back in the day. But the growth they've experienced with you and the dynasty. I mean, I think that's a good word to use at this point. The dynasty, the empire, which is FFL, is incredible. And I know you say all those nice things about me, and I appreciate that. But in terms of like the insurance space, which is funny because I know we spoke about this in private, but yeah. I grew up in an insurance office.
That's crazy.
My mom and dad did insurance for 13 or 15 years, built a great agency, and they're still getting checks. They've been retired now for what, 12 or 15 years, right? So I grew up looking at envelopes in the insurance office and watching, agents and different things like that. So it's definitely a really cool full circle moment. But I'm a product of two really great parents. Like I said, I saw them working super hard for years and years and years. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. Right in the middle. They were rich people, they were poor people, and then it was us right in the middle. Because even though my parents were making a decent amount of money, they weren't buying all these expensive things. They really were living smart, right? They were living really smart, and they said, you know what? If we do this thing the right way with residual income, we can walk away and go live the life that we really want to live in a couple of years. So growing up, I saw mom and dad working 7 days a week. So work ethic to me just came very natural. And I always wanted more. There's a lot of people listening to this podcast, tens of thousands of people, and you're listening to this, you want more. I wanted more. Like, my grades weren't that great growing up in school. But I always said, like, okay, one day I'm going to grow up and I'm going to find what rich and wealthy people do. And I'm going to do what it is they do. And at 18, I left Ohio because the winters, the cold, the rain, the snow, the sleet, all that nonsense. I moved out to Arizona, knew nobody, Arizona State, 100,000 students. I'm from this small little town with 2 pizza parlors and 2 ice cream shops. And I kind of freak out at 18. I get into some trouble in the dorms, drinking and partying and just doing all those different things. And one day I fall into real estate. You know, my mom called me and said, hey, turn on this show, $1 Million Listing. There's some young guys on there making money. Maybe you can do something like that. So I got my real estate license at 18, the youngest person in the entire, I guess, agency, you could say. I learned the business. I started making a little bit of money representing sellers, representing buyers. And then I fell into direct sales at 21. I got invited to this meeting. I heard the word residual income. I didn't really fully understand it because when you're a kid, you don't really think what mom and dad does is like a cool, sexy thing, you know? But so I didn't want to do what mom and dad were doing, but I saw residual income and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then the rest is history. You know, I know we're going to get into it, but I've been in 76 countries around the world. I've been fortunate to earn, you know, lots, tens of millions of dollars. But, you know, the coolest thing at this point at 33 is the amount of people that I've been able to directly and indirectly help. I think the numbers are like 800 six-figure earners, and I think 30 or 35 documented millionaires at this point. So I'm just grateful. And I'm like you, man. I just want to help people live a better life.
Well, you're definitely doing that. And I appreciate that and understand that. Let me be clear. I appreciate your humility. We happen to have a very good vehicle in the insurance business. And I think that's part of, and I want to start there because that's been part of when you look at the industry historically, look at some of these big companies. And I would ask people 30, 40 years older than me, explain to me what drove you. Like, what was it? Y'all got pretty big. Actually, for the time, really big. What drove you? And I'll never forget a guy said to me, he said, we were on a crusade. Guy worked at A.L. Williams, Primerica. And he said, we're on a crusade. And I said, what was the deal with like you and Prudential? Like, I don't get it. And he's like, we needed something to fight against. We just needed something to fight against, right? Now, I looked at the models and I was like, there's a better way to do it where people can actually make the money. Like my deal is some of the folks we know in common, they're super sharp people. They have good work ethics, but they had never really been able to go make that kind of money, which to me wasn't anything other than, okay, you made the money. Congratulations. What can you do to pay it forward? Alex, one of the things I've seen you do, and I've watched you do this with your message. And I want to start with this question because I've been doing this 25 years. I was in real estate. I got my real estate license at 21. Had an agency, got excited. Then at the time I became a general contractor, developed land, I owned rental properties. I got into every aspect that I could. Okay. It was good to me. Life was good. I got in the waste management business with some folks, found insurance, did some other things in between. The one thing though, that I've continued to work hard at is helping people. I grew up with my mom. My mom's awesome, but my mom showed me how to be hard worker at her job. There's no residual income. There was no overrides. There was no equity. There was just my mom and her jobs. And I knew I had to do it a different way. Matter of fact, I got my real estate license purely because my mom got hers. And then her idiot friends in our little apartment complex talked her out of keeping it. They were like, it's stupid, Carrie. Not everybody can do it, yada, yada, yada. So they like literally helped talk her out of it. So at that moment in time at 9 or 10, I was like, I'm never going to listen to what people that are broke say, because that's dumb. And also I'm going to get my real estate license one day because I want my mom, like I'm going to do this one day. You speak life into people. When you were in your dorm, having your problems on your own, figuring out what to do with your life, you went and made money. Cool. That's awesome. Alex, what was it about you that when you started making more than enough money to live, what was it about you that drove you to say, hey, okay, I'm here, cool, I bought a car, I can do this. What drove you and what continues to drive you? Because, dude, you're young. What drove you and continues to drive you to go ahead and excel greater than the majority of people in business everywhere? What is that, and how do you impart that on other people?
Yeah, well, I'm an open book. I always keep it 100%. And I'll tell you right now, I got really upset because I found out at about 18, 19-ish that us, the younger generation, millennials, were being lied to, just straight up. Like Arizona State was a top 25 business school. I got asked to leave the business school freshman year, but before I left the business school, because I got into direct sales and I was busy building my business and my grades weren't too good, I came to the sincere realization that society, whether you want to call it governments, politicians, were setting people up to struggle financially the rest of their lives. So you use the word crusade. That's what it was for me. I said, we are going to show young people there's a different way and a better way. So when you graduate college, and again, I'm not bashing school. I actually graduated because my mom had a master's degree from Pepperdine, which is a really tough school.
Yeah, it is.
My dad dropped out of Oklahoma University and became a self-made millionaire. So I was like torn with this education deal, right? But I found out professors and teachers and most people's parents, not that they're bad parents, they were setting up us kids, our generation, to go out there and struggle financially the rest of our lives. Go out there, work 9 to 5, be told what to do, when to do it, when to go to the bathroom, when to go home. And I said that there's something else, and it's entrepreneurship, whether it's insurance, real estate, network marketing. I didn't care. Obviously, I fell into direct sales, so that was my thing, but it became such a bigger purpose. You know, like my second year, I made 100 grand and all that, but my mind was so set on freeing people. Like I couldn't sleep. I mean, I was just all in, balls to the wall. Let's create this revolution for our generation. And that's what we did. You know, we turned 4 people in a dorm room into 96,000 people across America, predominantly college-aged people. You know, the Haydens and the Grady Polsons, they're around my ages. Well, we were going to, you know, seniors in high school through college saying, you know what, there's a better way. You don't have to go retire at 65. How about let's retire, you know, by the time we're, you know, 30, 35, right? So that's what it was for me. I was sick and tired of so many people being lied to and watching the system that is set up to keep people broke, unhealthy, and unhappy. And I wanted to make a difference and really just be the light in a very dark time. And it went viral, you know, thanks to social media, and we helped a lot of people.
Well, you know, it's funny because obviously I'm quite a bit older. We were lied to too. You know, like but I went to school because my mother told me to. I went to school to play baseball. I wouldn't have gone to college. I wanted to join the Marines. My mother like threatened the crap out of me. I graduated high school at 17. I need her permission to go. Took my ASVABs, went to the Armory. I'm like, I'm going. She's like, no, you're not. You're going to college. Went to college, partied way too much as well. Did my deal. Eventually got my degree, got a master's degree in criminal justice, social work. But I was a business major for about 3 months. And I had a professor that changed my life because I hated it. And I couldn't figure out why I hated it. And she said, go back to your dorm this weekend, come back in on Monday, and let me know why you hate this so much. You're smart. You don't seem to be opposed to being educated. You're playing baseball. You have to get good grades. Why do you hate it so much? And it hit me over the weekend. The people that were teaching me weren't doing it. And that was hypocrisy to me. So I came back to her on Monday. I said, hey, she's a president of a university in Connecticut now. And I said, I don't like the hypocrisy. And she said, well, pick a major then where the people teaching are actually doing. So I became a social work major because all those professors were full-time in their field, right?
Right.
And I did that for a few years. But the thing for me was we didn't have social media. For me to connect with anybody, I called them, bro. Like I didn't like, we were trying to. So Alex, when you talk about what y'all were doing, walk us through how many hours a day you were working when 4 of you went. And I mean this because people love the story. They love the success. Yep. They love the dream. They hate that. They like the victory. They love the dream and the victory. And the struggle, they want to talk about the struggle, but they don't want to participate. Talk to us about the struggle to go from 4 dudes in a dorm to 96,000 people college age across the country building a sales organization.
Yeah, well, I was taking 15 credit hours, and I found this I think it was my early junior year. I was 21, right? So it was like early junior year where I said no to the opportunity 7 or 8 times. And then it took me, I actually think he's in your company now, a young guy by the name of Brad.
Yep.
Alcaz.
Oh, my man. Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah,
Him and his pops. Him and his pops. Great people.
Full circle, man, right? So I say no 7 or 8 times. My eventual sponsor says, hey, there's this guy coming into Arizona tonight. He's 25, making $10,000 per week. And I said, say that one more time. And he said he's making 10 grand a week. Back then, 10 grand a week to me, you could buy the New York Yankees, right? So I show up, I get started, and then that's when like the light bulb kind of just went off in my head. I said, you know what, if this guy can get to this level of income, you know, so can I. So the work was big. Like when I tell people, I was doing 3 presentations from 5 p.m. to like 10 p.m. after all my classes. Every day. Like, let's call it, I don't lie. So let's not say 7 days a week. Let's say 6, right? Mm-hmm. 6 days a week, I'm presenting at 5 p.m., 7 p.m., 9 p.m., fast start training at, 10:30. And I'm doing that for years while I'm in school, all junior year, all senior year. Then I graduate and I'm still living in Arizona at the time. Right? Building and building and building and building. And then what happened is, just like your guys' business model, a team pops off in Michigan. A team pops off in Ohio. A team pops off in University of Central Florida. So now on the weekends, I am flying Southwest Airlines buddy passes. C-14. Yep. Sitting next to the bathroom, man. And I'm going to Ohio State and Michigan and all of these, another young phenomenal superstar you guys have, Jamie Cheerio. He has a little group growing. I'm flying to him. So it was the work ethic piece it was an all-day thing. People say, well, Alex, how much time did you spend, every day on the business? Even today, my answer is I can't give you that answer because I'm not in the business. The business is in me. Every lunch, every dinner, I'm at the gym, working out with my buddy. What are we talking about? The business. What are we talking about? The leads, the prospecting, the presenting. What leaders are you recruiting this week into, our insurance organization, right? Like you're always doing it, especially in that first like degree of the career where you don't have 100, 200, 300, 500, a million liquid in a bank account. You don't have time to spend doing a lot of other things. Like for me, it's even when I was broke, God, family, success. Today, it's still God, family, success. But I tell people back then, there were times where it went God, success, family. Why? Because I was getting success for who? My family.
Amen.
So it was all day, man. I was doing one-on-ones, two-on-ones, home events. Then it turned into hotel presentations. Very, very, very similar to what the model you guys do. It's the same activities.
Right.
Whether it's life policies or a protein shake, dude, you're in sales. You're in sales and you're in leadership. And there's certain things, if you do these things, you win. If you don't, you're gonna struggle. And that's it.
All right. So to help people understand, because it is similar. I started my business 15 years ago, showing the plan. Yep. Southwest too, bro. Like Southwest gangsters. I lived on it. Showing the plan anywhere. I used to do these meetings in Linthicum, Maryland. I landed, never been there before. Cab picks me up. He says, where are you going? I tell him, he said, I think you're overdressed. I'm in like a $80 suit. I said, what do you mean? He goes, have you been to where you're going? I said, no, sir. So we pull up. I don't remember the name of the hotel. You have to walk through this little tunnel. Everybody's in there smoking crack. And I would know because I used to smoke crack. I've been sober a long time, so it's great. Walking through this tunnel, get to the hotel. Lady looks at me and she says, are you here for a meeting? I said, yes, ma'am. Now, I thought it was a meeting room because it was so cheap, but it was just like downstairs like this. It was like there would be a janitorial closet and a bigger closet. It was unbelievable. And I remember saying to myself, I never said this sucks. I was just excited because, as you said, the business was in me. And the business honestly wasn't like, I love life insurance, and I loved real estate. I loved waste management. I loved businesses that were replicatable. I love staples, things everybody has to have. I like low barrier of entry. I love all that. But honestly, dude, I was doing it to provide my kids a better opportunity. That's what was in me. What was in me was my mom's going to eat. She's going to do well, live in a nicer place. I'm going to pay her house. I'm going to get her house. My kids I'm never going to say no to them based on money. But at those times, I was about 6 weeks in, and I graduated up to like a little room in the lobby. And the lady pulled me aside. She must have been 80 years old. And she said, son, why do you keep coming? Nobody ever shows up. I said, but what if somebody does one day? And dude, I met one of my biggest guys about 7 weeks later. I mean, cumulatively, Alex, 16 meetings, because I learned this. I shouldn't have seen this. It was a Southwest napkin, and it had 3 cities in Texas. Ladies having a little napkin. We launched the company. We came here, and then their story about Love Field's pretty cool, and DFW and what they did down there. But I was like, I'm going to pick 3 cities: Boston, Baltimore, which is Linthicum, and Philly. Every week. But dude, it's what built my grit in the business. Okay. Yeah. So Alex, and when people say, well, wait a minute, Alex he had 2 great parents. Look at this. They're business people. You have it because you have a single mom. At some point in time, you have to stop talking about why you can't do it. Because that's the problem. Right. I'm sorry, but I don't give a shit. It's a lie. I wasn't more motivated because my mom, I had a single mom and we were broke. I don't have I didn't get some special gift. You don't got a gift because you decide to do what you do. Alex, what have you seen the biggest mistake that you see people make? Because you speak in front of all kinds of people as they're working their business. Like if I were to say, man, Alex, give me one thing. I'm starting another sales organization over here. I got 50,000 people. Dude, if I'm going to talk to them about one thing and one mistake that you see that continues to be replicated that stops their success, what would that thing be?
I would honestly say probably quitting too early. I just did this event in Croatia, right? 5,800 people. And I closed the event out. And I literally said, raise your hand if this is your first international convention. Like always, half the room. And I said, statistically, by the time our next international event is, which is in Budapest, mid-February, after your guys' event, I said, half of you already quit. Mm-hmm. Don't be a statistic. God, and this is the true story. I made 13 grand my first 12 months of the business. Like people see me now on all these magazines and the books and all this stuff. Like, oh, it just, he just went, from zero to hero. Yeah, I did go 0 to hero, but it took 12 months. I was rejected. I would build a team. They would all quit. The true story is it took me 6 months to get to $400 in residual income. So I tell people, don't quit. That's one of the biggest mistakes is, I tried life insurance, man, and how long you been in? Oh, I've been in 6 months. I haven't made 100 grand yet. It's like, what are we talking about? You go to college for 4 years on student loan debt. You're guaranteed absolutely nothing. You have to put in the work. My dad even told me when he was in his deal, there was something called MGA. I'm not even sure what that means, but it was like a manager thing. And he was MGA of the year after a couple years. He didn't just, poof, here we, everything takes time. So I teach this thing, being patient on the long-term vision, right? But then be super uber aggressive today. Like, what are you guys listening to right now? What are you doing today to move your business forward? Because the thing is, everybody dreams, right? Oh, financial freedom and the Ferraris and Lamborghinis and, going to Dubai and all these different things. Everybody dreams equally. I really believe everybody has dreams and goals. Very few people wake up on a Monday and do what's necessary today to move the business forward. So be obsessed about the present and be patient on the private jet and the million or 10 million or 50 million, right? So number one, people quit way too freaking early. And number two, people do not want to humble themselves enough to learn and listen to somebody else. I see it all the time. And unfortunately, a lot of times it's the younger men, for whatever reason, don't want to listen to another younger man. I don't know what it is. It's probably ego. Oh, I can do it better. My system's better. My leads, I have a better lead gen than this guy. And I tell people, my mentor, Bob Proctor, right? Coached me from $400 a month to where I am today, up until he passed away. He said, Alex, find someone that has what you want, do what they do, say what they say, and eventually you will get their same results.
100%.
That is one of the truest things, especially in something like what you guys are doing. It's already proven. Like, there's people already earning whatever these people want to earn listening to this show. Are you doing what they are advising you to do? If you do it long enough, ladies and gentlemen, you will win at a very high level.
So it was a lot that you said there, a lot to unpack. And I love your passion because it pours out of you. I'm 50 years old. I first
you don't look 50, man.
I appreciate that. I don't want to look 50 in 10 years either, but I appreciate you. I never made $1 million a year until I was 41. I was an independent contractor at 21. I had jobs, real estate, construction material sales, waste management, back to real estate, found life insurance in my mid-30s. So I think what screws us up a lot nowadays is social media, because whatever age it is, most of it's bullshit. I mean, I know these people. I've met them. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude or difficult, and that's a struggle for me because people are always like, take pictures of this, show them the lifestyle, show them this. I'm like, dude, it's not even that exciting. I want some stuff that makes my life like more convenient, and that's cool. But a guy about 6 months ago said, you have to understand, Sean, what I'm trying to get you to understand is this. I love humility. I get it. Owning shit doesn't make you anybody. But the problem is most people on the internet don't own 99% of what they say. That it's a lie. So you get 23-year-olds that, to your point, are working for 8 months. And they're like, dude, I haven't made 100 grand. I'm like, I first made 100 grand a year when I was working in real estate after 3 years. I was making 350 grand a year in my 30s. And I thought like, dude, holy shit, like I'm almost arriving. Honestly, I can remember the first time I got paid 20 grand in a week. And I was like, if I can do that every week, I'm making $1 million a year. Can I do that every week? And then what happened was once I hit that, I was like, dude, my life didn't like, that's the thing you realize. Then you start making a lot more and you're like, yeah, life's good, but I want to see other people have that result. Right. So for me, I'm able to provide the fact that, dude, it's a grind. Now, the nice thing is we have awesome vehicles nowadays. We have people like you that pour life into people and get them to see it in a certain way and understand it. But it's also, I want you to talk about this, Alex. I would think listen, mom and dad, different educational backgrounds. I don't think listening to you, they walked around caring what everybody else in the world said to them. They were going to do what they're going to do. God, I think that's also a big part. My pastor this past week was like, man, that sermon was tough, right? I go, not really. I'm just like, that was about to be afraid of like fear of God, and reverence is great, but fear is more important. I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm scared to mother effing death of the Lord. And I think I'm supposed to be, like, in a very healthy, respectful way. The good decisions I've made in my life, I'm like, I might want to do that. I don't really care what Alex thinks. Yeah, he's not going to like that. I can't do that. I'm much more worried about that. I like Alex. I want Alex to be happy, but that's for eternity. So I want to make sure I'm paying attention, right? When you see people, because I see them all the time, they start like, let's take any business that's not a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I went to college. So a lot of people, and I don't think parents are bad people when they do this. I think they're doing the best they can. My mother's an awesome human being. She told me not to go do anything in sales, not to do anything independently, not to build a business, because we weren't those kind of people. And I didn't have the background. My mom knew I was really smart. I was accomplished in a lot of ways. I was athletic. I achieved, but she tried. Alex, how do you get people to tune out the noise? How do you get them to, because what I've learned, I hate this, there's some evil mother fathers out there. And if you start achieving, it scares them. When I got sober, weirdly enough, and none of the dudes I hung out with would be watching this now anyway, and if they would, I wouldn't care. Dude, I didn't ostracise myself from them. I was like, I just can't get effing high and drunk, guys. Like, I can't. Like, I want to have some kids. We're going to get pregnant. I don't ever want to see them. I don't ever want them to see me high and sober. I wasn't uncomfortable. I mean, it took me time because I partied way too much. But after a period of time, I'm like, dude, I can go hang out with what y'all are doing. Like, I can drink 12 Diet Mountain Dews. Ain't great for me, but better than vodka and cocaine because I'm not going to jump off buildings and fight people. They pulled away from me. I didn't pull away from them. And I'm accountable when I screw stuff up. So people will watch you and think, if Alex goes and gets better, what does that mean for me? And will I feel inadequate about myself? How do you get people to tune out this noise? Because it's loud. How do you get them when they leave? Because they leave that event, they're excited. How do they stay focused and not let that deter them in any way, shape, and or form?
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. And back in the day, I used to think, people that didn't want me to win were, super, super evil, or they tried to, distract me. Like every day I tell people, you have your desires and your distractions. You're going to feed one of these sides. And now being, 34 next month, you're right. When people try to talk you out of your dreams, sometimes they do love you. Like there's a lot of people I work with, man. Their parents think they're crazy, they're nuts for doing something where there's no salary, there's nothing guaranteed, there's personal development. Oh, Tony Robbins is a scam. Like I still hear the same things I heard at 21. I hear them today at 33, and it blows my mind, but it is what it is. So for people listening, when you choose a different path in your life and you're not settling for average, right? Average car, average house, average. Honestly, it is happiness. People say, "Oh, money's not important." I think that's insane. Like in today's world in America, man, you need more. You need money so you can feed your kids, not processed, nasty. Lord knows what's in these things now. Like you go buy meat from Walmart, that you don't even know what you're eating anymore. I'm very close with a guy named Gary Brecka. A lot of people know who he is. He goes, Alex, you have to buy, grass-fed, grass-finished. Like you don't even know what you're eating anymore. Like this isn't even food anymore in this country. So you need to make money. So when you choose a different career path, you guys, people are going to try to talk you out of it. They're going to make fun of you. They're going to talk, excuse my language, shit to you. They're going to say it's never going to work. You're not like those people. So the way to tune it out is to physically tune it out. Like if you know there's somebody in your family, every time you get on the phone with them, it's negativity after negativity after negativity. Instead of talking once a week, talk once a month. And some of these people might have your same last name, and that is okay. That is okay because you're going somewhere different. You're going somewhere better. And I also teach people, for every one negative that enters the subconscious mind, you better replace that sucker with at least 5 positives. I'm big on affirmations. I am. Bob gave me Think and Grow Rich at a very young age, and it talks about the power of what you say to yourself. When I first heard that, I thought it was BS, hocus pocus. Then I found out it to be true. Because when you study the McGregors and the Floyd Mayweathers and the LeBrons and the Kobes and the Tom Bradys and the Coco Gauffs who just won the US Open, they talk to themselves. So if they're going to talk to themselves and be the best in the world of the sport, I'm going to talk to myself as well, right? So in the way you kind of block this stuff out is you control your environment. And your environment is not just the people you talk to. It's the books you read, the audios you listen to, the podcasts you watch, the YouTube videos you watch. So when you're driving in your car, put on, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, Sean right here, right? Guard your mind against negative self-talk. Guard your mind against negative people. Guard your mind against the negative news. The people that I work with very closely, I tell them straight up, I don't think you should even engage in watching the nightly news, CNN, NBC, ABC, Fox. Because if you watch it for a week, 95% of the stories are all negative, man. And the things that we input into our mind, our biggest and best supercomputer, it then shows output in our results. So if you want to change your results, which you do, you have to change your thinking in the input of information. When you look at the word information, it's 3 words: information. Things go in, they form in your mind, and ation is one of the root words for action. So whatever you put in, man, you're going to take action, on your life. So guard yourself against this insanity, negativity, and, focus. And the last thing on that, having fun is important. I have a lot of fun. My wife and I travel. We go out. We have fun. We party and stuff. But there was a season in my life where I couldn't afford to wake up hungover. I couldn't afford to be higher than a kite. I couldn't afford to be taking tequila shots at 4:46 a.m. and waking up at 4:42 p.m. I couldn't do that. And you should know, listening to this right now, this is the way I operate. Somebody's always on my ass. Somebody's always trying to take my spot. Someone's always trying to take my people. Someone's always trying to build a better insurance comp plan or business model than me. So I gotta stay in front. And that's the mentality I think you need if you really want to get into that quote unquote 7-figure plus realm of financial success.
Well, and I think the struggle is everything that Bob taught you, that book, Think and Grow Rich, the stuff you're talking to me about, the stuff I've learned over the course of time because I've listened. See, the funny thing is I've had people go to these meetings with me over these years. They don't know this stuff. They never listen. Right. They're busy thinking about whatever's going on in their life. They're busy thinking about what they're going to eat for. They're busy thinking about going out and getting drunk. They never had that season where they're like, you know what, dude, I don't know. And it's funny. I had a mentor. He recently passed. I was playing baseball for him. I was in high school. He played professional ball for years. Super hardcore dude. And it's funny because I said, how do you do this stuff? Like, you're a very successful businessman on the side. He said, find people that are having the result you want. Talk the way they talk. Meaning walk the way they walk. He walked me through all that. And it's funny because everything I've done from the way I speak and the pattern in my hand, I watched other successful people do it. Yep. I watched that yin and yang and push and pull, and I learned it because I didn't know it, right? So when you listen to Alex talk and you start thinking to yourself, okay, the stuff he's saying you could do. See, that's the thing about let's take anybody. Let's take Mayweather, McGregor, any of those folks, right? If I tell you that you can have the result they have, I'd be lying to you because that would be weird, right? Like, that requires ability. The beautiful thing about the businesses that I've chosen, a lot of, I don't know all of yours, but the things you've chosen, sales, direct sales, building teams, motivating, inspiring, empowering, anybody can do those. That's why the attitude of somebody's always on my ass is important, because what I thought was brilliant about Kobe was, dude, nobody was really on your ass. You're Kobe Bryant, but you convinced yourself that, like, and good for you, but like, you probably could have not practiced for 10 years and still dominate at the highest level in the world, except you were busy still convincing yourself. In our world, somebody is always on our ass. Okay. So Alex, if all these people that are watching and again, for those of you that you'll come to our event in Dallas, you're going to hear Alex is going to crush it. Really excited about what he brings to the table. But you said something early on about I was presented an opportunity and I said no multiple times.
Yeah.
If that isn't one of your biggest takeaways, because when we start to build anything, or we go anywhere, or we go get a contract, or we go to ask about, when I was getting waste management, what I learned about waste management was easy to pick up the trash, hard to find a place to dump it. And there were 3 companies, families that owned these companies for years, national companies that controlled all of the landfills within 100 miles of where I was. And I decided to buy dumpsters and trucks before securing the contract to dump. Wow. The reason I did is there was an incinerator 15 minutes from where I was that anybody could use in the entire state of Connecticut. 3 months into my business, it burnt to the ground.
Wow.
Do I know if somebody burnt to the ground? I don't know. I don't watch Goodfellas every week, but I know it burnt to the mother effing ground, and that's all I know. Yep. Okay. And here I was with customers, dumpsters, drivers, employees going, where do we dump it? I asked over and over, and then it was not only where we dump it, how can I get it at a tonnage rate where I can live? Right? How do I do that? That took me, and again, but I didn't take no for an answer. Alex said no multiple times. Imagine if one of the now we could say if another one of these men or women had presented at a different time, maybe you would have said yes. Maybe it was just timing. But finally, when Brad reached out to you, was like, hey, let's do this. Guys, if you're not understanding how close you are always and how many no's you might be away from getting to a yes. When I found the insurance business, the first guy that asked me, I said yes. But I was in a really bad spot at 36 years old. 2008, real estate market takes a turn. I'm totally looking. The funny thing is, that dude, 9 months into the business, Alex, he quit. And he hired me. So I was like, wow. Okay. And I didn't know what I would or wouldn't do. Now we've built the biggest distribution model in life insurance that anybody's ever had. Anybody can say they had a bigger one than us. They don't. They don't have a bigger one now. They're not even close. But I'm still competing to double every year. We want to step on your throat, keep you down. I'm competitive. I want to win. But that guy called me about a year later and said, can I get back in? Looks like you're doing really well. And I was like, yeah, don't work that way, dude. But I am doing really well. But had that fool not quit, he'd have made quite a bit of money.
Oh, yeah.
All the people on here, and I want to close with this, Alex. All the people on here that are listening to you talk today, and I appreciate it because it is transparent. It does come from the heart. It is vulnerable. I mean, you're sharp as can be, and you know that part. And I like your humility. A lot of them they're trying to figure it out, because what happens, Alex, is a lot of times some of the folks that have read their own press clippings, they listen. Maybe I'll tell them to listen, they won't. But a lot of the folks on here, man, they're starving. And if they were all in your downline, your direct sales deal, they were all in it. Give them a couple things, leave it here today that you're like, man, if you can do these couple things, man, I think your chance of success is much greater than if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll basically say what I said yesterday in Croatia, because I really feel like there are so many similarities, because again, it's sales and it's leadership. Those are the two things, right? So number one, I would tell you on here, if you're hungry and you have a high level of desire, that's amazing. That's great. But again, you got to now translate that emotion into physical production. Don't get confused with being busy and being productive. So this is what I would say, because I do understand insurance. I do understand the business model. If you're listening in right now, whether you made $200 last month or you made 20 grand last month, this is what I'm gonna tell you. I want you to get out a sheet of paper and a pen, and I want you to make a new list of people that you want to prospect for your opportunity. Who do you know that wants to make more money? Who do you know that needs to pay off student loan debt? Who do you know that is watching your Instagram stories but hasn't reached out to you yet? Who do you know that said no 6 or 8 months ago, but might be more open today that you need to follow up with? Make a new list of people. Who was the high school quarterback? Who was the girl that, was super popular in college? Make a new list of people, because this is the problem. A lot of you on here, and this is the truth. This is the truth. You think the people that got you to where you are today will be the same people that will take you to where you want to go tomorrow, and they are not. Amen. Guys. They are not. I had 22 six-figure earners in my first company. 21 of them are not with me today. I'm still friends with a lot of them, but they're not with me today, and that's perfectly fine. But the point is that you need new blood, okay? Because remember, how excited were you when you first became an agent? You passed your test, you went to your office in Scottsdale or Dallas or Michigan or Washington. You were fired up, okay? You were jacked about life. You were excited about the future. So everybody has challenges in their organizations. Guess what? 98% of your challenges will cease to exist when you go recruit a new superstar, a new person that can bring you newfound momentum. So I would say, number one, make a new list of people that you want to show the plan to, all right, to become an agent in your winning organization. Number two, redefine your team's vision. It's easy to fall in love with, Sean's vision and this company's vision, but you got to also dictate and figure out your own organization's vision, because the company's vision is so big, it can fit under that umbrella. But what's your mission statement, man? Like, what's your goal for the rest of 2023? Your guys' international event is February. Like, what rank or what level of production are you going to walk that stage in Dallas, Texas at? Write that down. See the number on the sheet of paper and then say, am I giving enough work ethic today to make that number or that rank or that title actually come to physical fruition in Dallas? If the answer is no, go harder, man. Like, it's mid-September. You guys got September, October, November, December. You got 5.5 months. Honest to God, 5.5 months. This is my question. What does it look like if you go all in for 5.5 months and then celebrate in Dallas, Texas with 50,000 of your brothers and sisters? So make a new list of people, redefine your vision and your mission for your organization. And then 3, again, also maybe recalibrate who the mentor or mentors are that you're listening to and following. Okay. I don't know all the names of the people in this company that are making $500,000 or plus a year, but you should find 1 or 2 or 3 of these men or women and say, you know what? I see myself in them. I'm going to lock into their social media. I'm going to lock into their team Zoom calls. I'm going to lock into their methodology. I'm going to lock into their daily methods of operation. And I'm actually going to follow to a T their game plan and strategy. Why? Because they're already making $500,000 or more a year. That is why. And then number 4, get to work and cut out distractions. After doing this for so many years and all these podcasts, just like you, and talking to all the great Cardones and the Ed Milets and all these different people, they all operate on the same levels of frequency. They all operate with the same daily methods of operation. I got a chance to spend 15 minutes backstage with Ed in Miami in January at my event. And I was asking him a couple of questions. By the way, he made fortunes in your guys' space, I'm pretty sure, right? In insurance. And he looked at me, he said, Alex, he goes, every day I did a few daily disciplines. That's what I did. And I spoke belief into people, and I did it for dozens of years in a row. And that's why I own this jet, and I do this and I do that. Just stick to the plan. That's what he told me, stick to the plan. So that's what I'm telling you guys. Stick to the plan. It obviously works. You have an unbelievable visionary as a CEO. I've said it multiple times. If I wasn't doing what I was doing and making what I was making, my ass would be in insurance, man. Like, y'all are in the right spot. Take advantage of it. And we'll see you in Dallas, and we'll celebrate you on stage in front of 50,000 people. That's what I would say.
Well, first of all, dude, I appreciate you. I love you. You crushed it. Didn't think that it would be any other result. And you fed a lot of people today, whatever business you're in, whatever that happens to be. And I think that's the deal for people too, is that sometimes, and new blood is it, right? I don't care. Like, if you've ever coached, do you have any kids, Alex?
Not yet.
Okay. When you have kids one day, if you ever coach them, when they're in middle school, you will love coaching the 6th graders. You'll love coaching the 7th graders. You'll abhor coaching the 8th graders. Now, me, I knew them. They knew not to F with me. Life was good, but they think they know everything. They got it all figured out. There's no new blood, and you've had them for a couple of years. And then even the ones that ain't that good, they're like, well, I'm going to play with them in 8th grade. No, it just means you suck actually more than I thought you did, because you in 8th grade and can't even play. And you're your dad's kid. You have his genes that don't make you a bad human being, but I hope you're good at the debate club or chess because you suck at basketball. That's okay to suck at something, okay? But it's because you don't have any new blood, right? You're like, oh my God, I might be beholden. Business is the same way. And I think that what you're talking about today, no matter what it is you're doing, is getting people to understand that's how it was for me in every industry I've been in. I can't wait to meet you. I'm sure I'll see you before February for our event. I'll see you at some event somewhere. And because for us, dude, I'm still on a crusade every day, and it ain't got nothing to do with money. It's a fact that, like when you say Ed Millet, I got no problem with Ed Millet. I just like doing a lot more volume than they ever thought about doing. I want to do a lot more than they ever thought about doing. I want to achieve more than he achieved. Why? Why not? I don't hate him. I'm not mad at him. I have no issue with him at all, except I want to kick his ass. And there's nothing wrong with that, dude. And I want to keep doing it every single day. It's what I want to do. You know what I mean? I want people to, but I love, Alex, where you come from, because yours is about creating results for other people. And that, I think, is the money will come and go. The other stuff is cool. But when you start, you said multiple times how many 6-figure, 7-figure confirmed earners.
Yep.
That means you change people's lives. People decided to have kids that they may not have had. because of his situation. They did things for their parents. They donated. They made a difference in the world, because when people say money doesn't matter, every person that doesn't want to work and is broke, that's an easy thing to say, right? Because it's like, it's not my fault. This doesn't matter. You know, money doesn't matter at all. In a capitalist society, it does matter. And as you move on, you'll figure it out. So I appreciate you, man. You absolutely crushed it. Hey, you want to find him? You follow him on Instagram. Is the best place to find you, Instagram? Where do they go?
Alex Morton Mindset.
Alex Morton Mindset. Hey, this guy's a stud. I promise you. I feel better every time I talk to him. I just do. I get around him, dude. I feel better. So, Alex, much love and respect. I love you. I appreciate you being on. I'll see you definitely before we get to our event in Dallas. I'll see you at something. But thanks for pouring into us today, bro.
You got it, man. Love you too. And see everybody very, very soon. God bless.
Appreciate you, man.